So is Chris Paul right? Do we got to forget about this whole we're young thing? And are we overrating or maybe underrating the Spurs?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kins 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. And again, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you all had a great one with your family yesterday, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. Enjoyed the Spurs game. Yeah, I know. It didn't turn out that way. But still, there was Spurs game on Christmas Day. Hope you all had a good one. And as always, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Kins 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know where to go. Go subscribe right now. Subscribe to the Locked On Spurs newsletter if you're watching on YouTube. It's in the description below. Click on that link. It's free. Sign up right now. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Go do that right now. What are we talking about today? As you can see on your screen if you're watching on YouTube, but if you're not, we are discussing the Spurs and if they are too young. No, I just hold on. Let me explain. So, we're going to be looking at what Chris Paul specifically had to say regarding the Spurs' age. In a nutshell, he says, throw it out the window. Is he right? We're going to be discussing that. And are some Spurs fans overrating this team? You know, are they making them bigger than what they are? Or maybe, some of the Spurs fans are right. This team isn't all that. We're going to be discussing that and more with our guest, Rudy Campos, sweep the league in just a few minutes. But yeah, tough loss in New York. It was an entertaining game. It certainly was, but unfortunately, the guys in silver black did not get that W. Victor was just Victor, 40-plus points, breaking records. On the other side, too, Mikal Bridges, 41 points. So that was almost a wash right there. But during that game, or I should say after the game, Chris Paul, we'll play his comments in a bit, but Chris Paul has some interesting thoughts on the team. In a nutshell, he says, this whole we're young thing, he said that has to leave already. It's done. And he kept on backing up by saying they're pros. Again, we're going to play his comments in a bit, but that's been kind of a crutch for this team over the last few years. Oh, we're too young. We're learning. We got to get experience. But if you look at the roster, you know what? Maybe Chris Paul is right. Maybe this whole we're just kids. We had training wheels on. That has to stop. Let's go and bring in our guest. He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Rudy, welcome back, buddy. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. We're both we're channeling our inner nerd, I guess, with your shirt and my shirt here.
Yeah. Well, you're more doing it. This is just an old workout shirt I have. I just threw it on because every single T-shirt I have doesn't work with the green screen. Like I throw something on and then you can see right through me. I throw something on and it's, half of this shirt is showing. It's just a mess. I was like, finally I found one that worked. But no, you got the Hellfire Club, man. Are you been battling those demons? The upside down already?
Yeah, I'm ready. Actually, I'm kind of ready for 2025 because we're getting the final, 5 or 6 episodes of Stranger Things, then it's over with. So I'm kind of getting geared up for it. So 2025's got a lot of stuff, man, coming out. Superman and Stranger Things, a lot of different things coming out.
Yeah. And then right now they got the what is that? Skeleton Crew. I've kind of been on it's about it, but I haven't seen the latest episode, but I heard that one finally get going. So we'll see. All right, we're enough nerd talk right now. We're gonna be discussing Silver and Black again. Check out Rudy on X at Sweep the League. Check out his show Sweep the League on YouTube. More on that later. So Rudy, before we dive into it, you can gather your thoughts here. You heard in the intro, Chris Paul said that whole young thing's got to stop. We're done with that already. Let's hear what he had to say specifically. This is courtesy of the San Antonio Spurs. Here's Chris Paul on the team's youth.
I think we're just going to get to that point where all that young guy stuff got to go out the window. We pros just like everybody else. And there's a grit and a will that you got to have in this league in order to figure out ways to win those games, and especially on the road. Especially on the road when we're the only ones that's cheering for us or whatnot, and that builds character. So we got 2 games, I think, left on this trip, and we got to make sure we approach them with the proper fear.
You heard it right there. Chris Paul, shots fired. I mean, if he's speaking through the media, he got a message across that this team, his teammates, need to just stop. stop with this whole young excuse. And we're going to get into some numbers in a bit, but really just get your reaction. What did you think when you heard that from CP3?
It's basically stop making excuses. I mean, you can't be a rookie or a unseasoned veteran after so many years. Now you're talking about guys like Stephon Castle, who's a rookie. Wemby, second year into the league, and this is year 2 for him. So, I mean, really, those two guys are the only two guys you can say, all right, they're still learning. More Stephon Castle than Wemby. Wemby's already developed into one of the superstars in the league. So can't use the young card with him. And he's correct. You're professionals. I mean, you've been through college. Most of them a majority of them have been through college. They've been through the rigors of college basketball, long seasons already. When is enough enough? You see fans, and primarily, I'm going to call them out. You see fans primarily saying, well, the team's young. They're still growing. At what point do you say, okay, this team is what it is and there's no more growing pains? I mean, you've got the veterans you want. You have Harrison Barnes. You have Chris Paul. I don't care what people say about Zach Collins. I know he's not the greatest Spur on the roster, but he is a veteran, Jeff. So you've got veterans on the team already. Keldon Johnson already in year 6, I believe. So, I mean, how much more can you say, well, we're still growing, we're still young? Basically, you're saying that you're not developing. And what it comes down to from Chris Paul, because by now these guys should already be learning how to win.
No, you hit on the head, and I'm going to echo that. I do agree with Chris Paul 100%. Enough with the young talk. It's done. We're done. Spurs, if you're watching this, because I know you are, KJ, Sohan, Devin, Trey, Malachi, the list goes on and on. You're not rookies anymore. You're not sophomores anymore. You're not even in the G League. We get in. Technically, I can say, understand that. Okay, you're trying to get used to the Spurs and the system. You guys have been pros for a while. Let's go throw some numbers at it. If stats don't lie, numbers don't lie. Well, here we go. Keldon Johnson, 5-year experience. You got, I'm going to exclude Chris Paul here, but what other guys? Zach Collins. He was a top 10 pick. He was number 10. 6 years. You have, what else? Okay, Trey Jones, 4th year. I can keep on going. You look at let's go here with the Malachi Branham. He's entering his third year already. So,
Devin's 4, so I mean,
Devin's 4. Yeah, so I mean, Sandro 4. He just it goes on and on and on. So this is you're not rookies anymore. You're not babies. You don't need the training wheels anymore. If you want to be technical about it, the Spurs bought training wheels for you guys, got Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul. But even at that, at this point, those guys shouldn't need a Chris Paul and a Barnes to come in and guide this team. It's really unacceptable. And I get where he's coming from. And I hope he sent a message to the team. Because, at least that loss to the Knicks towards the end of the game, they didn't show any grit. They didn't show any toughness, turnover here, mental mistake here. Who thought Mikal Bridges and Wemby was going to be the spotlight matchup? I was going to be Brunson and then Wemby and Cat. But those type of plays, are just unacceptable. And sure, is there a big gap in age and experience between Barnes and Paul and the rest of the team? Of course. It is what it is. But I think it's just used as a crutch. And it's not just the players that do this, Rudy. You hear Coach Popovich has been saying it too over the last few years. Mitch Johnson has been saying it recently. I think if Chris Paul has to send that message to the team, I think Mitch Johnson's going to have to start doing that too. Enough of the coddling. I think there's just too much coddling with this team. You got to get on them. And it starts now. Now, they're on a 2-game losing streak. They should beat Brooklyn. But at this point of the season and the way they're playing of late, I don't know anymore. I wouldn't be surprised. You tell me Spurs lost to Brooklyn, I'll be okay. Yeah, sure. Wemby had 40 points, but the rest of the team didn't show up. Sure. But Rudy, what do you think about the coddling? You know what? Let me know you with Evie with that. I don't know. What do you get Rudy's reaction, my reaction to this? Do you think the team is being coddled too much over the last few years? We're going to be discussing that and more right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Again, check him out on X at Sweep the League. You better do it right now, or he's going to unleash the Hellfire Club on you. You don't want that to happen. All right. But first, let's talk about Game Time. And when I talk to you about Game Time, go to gametime.co right now. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks. Makes getting tickets easier for your favorite live events that much better. Game Time filters out the fluff, so you only get incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Hey, Game Time has it all. They have the super deal. They got seats view before you buy. They got curated deals to make it easier to find the best price on great seats, the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. You will be pleasantly surprised with this app. Go get it right now. Game Time Picks, again, that's a curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Hey, they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant with your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions and monitors your spending and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one spot. Whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even goals you want to hit this year, Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a month a year when using all of the app's premium features. Look, for me, it's one of the best features is the subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting each month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy, Campos. So sweep the league and the Hellfire Club. So be careful, everybody. Make sure to follow him on X at Sweep the League. So I use the word coddling. Over the last few years, we've kind of seen that. You know, Popovich has kind of eased up on coming down on this team, as we saw during the Big Three era, the way he was with Tony Parker. That kind of stopped. It's Johnson seems to be trying to, keep the wheels going with Popovich's absence. But I really haven't. I mean, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors in the locker room before they let me in. But from what I can tell, it doesn't look like he's busting their butts afterwards. Do you think it's enough? They got to stop coddling this young team.
Yeah, I think 100% they do. I mean, so the best thing to think of when you're in a rebuild, here's the thing. You're rebuilding your franchise. You're coming off 21 seasons. You've got, the number one pick in Victor Wembanyama. You've got a player who's going to come in and help you win right away. But you've got to stay positive and you've got to coddle, because why? If you don't, you lose fan support. You lose, players, you lose the locker room. So you've kind of got to walk on eggshells a couple of times. And I think that's where Chris Paul comes in and says, look, enough is enough. We've got to hold ourselves responsible. So if Devin plays bad, you know what, Devin, you played horrible. Hey, Vic, you had 40-9, but those 2 or 3 rebounds that you missed, that was the game right there.
Yeah.
So you should have ended with 42-13. There's a lot of things that you can point at with the Spurs, and the coddling part is huge. And I think it goes to, that's why you go, well, they're still a young team. Team. Yeah. On paper, I mean, the average age is probably what, 24,
20,
I think.
Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, so by NBA standards, that is young age-wise. But if you go by number of years in the league, I mean, a lot of these guys have been in the league since they were 19 years old. So, I mean, when you go by years in league, that to me means a lot more than age right there. You've already been in the league. Now, all these guys, Jeff, have been in the Spurs system. So they should already be comfortable with what the Spurs do. And again, goes back to your word coddling. It's got to be just gloves off. You know the plays, you know the routine, you know the atmosphere, you know everything about the Spurs organization.
Right.
You've been in it multiple years already. Why is it that Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, the great veterans that they are, can pick it up, in a matter of, a few months of practicing with the team, but yet you still have guys that still struggle through it? And let's throw them out. Devin still struggles through a lot of the stuff. He works through a lot of the issues that he's got. Keldon is a monster. Then he kind of struggles a little bit. And I get it. Players are not going to be, superstars day in and day out and every game, but it's the consistency. And I think that's the one word that I remember talking to you about a lockdown in the off season was the biggest thing I want to see is consistency from these guys. I've yet to see the consistency from the returning Spurs that you expected from. And I think that's where the coddling needs to stop. Glad Chris Paul said it. It's finally been said to the media. It's finally been said to the locker room. Let's see what kind of reaction we get from the team.
Yeah, I expect a strong reaction from the team versus Brooklyn tomorrow, and then moving forward, because they're right at 500. That's not going to cut it in the West. If they have play-in dreams, well, they're going to dream they get busted if they're going to be just a 500 team or a little above or below. It ain't going to work. Let's get some fan reaction to the video we played earlier with Chris Paul. So I shared it on social media, and let's get some reaction here. This is from Set It Good on X. They say, amen. Devin and KJ, can you both hear this? So he's calling out Devin and KJ, and rightfully so, because after Paul and Barnes, technically you have your eldest tenured Spur, eldest, I use that in quotes there.
Yeah.
At least the longest tenure Spur, Keldon, not showing up. He got like 2 points against the Knicks. The other reaction we have from the Tony Rocky Horror at 7 words MX. Julian, Trey Jones, Keldon Johnson of Vassell. Paul is talking about your weak bleeps. So some of the fans are saying like Chris Paul is actually targeting his teammates right here. I have no one from Dash R Media on X. He is correct. He is not correct in sharing this to the world. Talk like this is for the locker room. He's throwing teammates under the bus and is handling it like this. So he disagrees. He agrees with the message is how it's delivered, but nevertheless, he agrees with the message. And this is interesting. This is from Todd Lady at Todd Anthony 99. Chris wants that ring and doesn't have time for development. Well, he ain't gonna want a ring here in San Antonio. No. So yeah, that ain't gonna happen. But I mean, Chris Paul, there's that side of it too. That he knew what he was coming into in San Antonio. He recognized this was a rebuilding team. He said it in his introductory conference. He's been saying it kind of throughout the season. So Chris Paul shouldn't be too surprised if you saw mess ups as you did versus the Knicks. But at the same time, if he's here to be a leader, then I think he took a good leadership step in saying, yeah, enough with the two youngs, excuse. It's over with. So for that aspect, Rudy, I appreciate that leadership. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think one of the comments said that he should have kept it behind closed doors. I'm sure he said it behind closed doors, but putting it out in the media is a whole different world because you know what? You can say stuff behind closed doors. As a father myself, I tell my daughter a lot of things and I tell her a whole lot, right and wrong and everything like that. But behind closed doors, it's in one ear, out the other. But when you get called out in front of people, when you get called out in front of friends, in this case, the media, it really hits a little bit harder because now the entire world knows the message that you were delivering in the locker room. So this was a good move by Chris Paul. I agree with it 100%. Call him out in the media, call him out in the locker room. You brought in Chris Paul to be the leader. Why? Because on the latest episode of Locked On Spurs you and I had, we said there really is no leader outside of Chris Paul on this team. You would hope Wemby would be a leader, but you say the young part. But to me, like I mentioned, he's not at a leadership position right now. Don't know if he ever will be, which is not a bad thing. But as a leader, Chris Paul, you're going to call him out no matter what. You're on a 2-game skid. Think about it like this. You do it in the media wide. You see if you can light that fire going into the next game. If they come out like gangbusters, it worked. But you don't know until you try it. So good move by Chris Paul. I agree 100% with it.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I have no problems with it at all whatsoever. Chris Paul, in my opinion, did the right thing. And I hope the message got across. Enough of this. As a matter of fact, Ree, I've been kind of on what Chris Paul had to say about the too young excuse, being just an excuse for a couple of years now already. Even last year when they were just a 22-win season team, I was like, "What are you doing, Keldon? What are you doing, Devin? Sohan. The list goes on and on." But more so this year, hey, you would think that some of the Chris Paul, leadership traits would have rubbed off by now. And I'm pretty sure they have. And look, it could have been just one of those games. Look, credit the Spurs against the Knicks. They made it competitive. It was competitive. They just didn't play 4 quarters of basketball. And that's just a sign of maturity. Now, if Chris Paul wants to say maybe this team is young as far as basketball maturity, sure. But there's still experienced guys outside of Barnes and Paul. We named 2 of them, Devin and Keldon, especially those 2 guys. So we got, sure, Bassie, fine, you don't get that much burn. At this point, Zach Collins, are you even playing anymore? But if you throw him out there, who knows? But when you see Spurs fans screaming on social media, put Stephon Castle back in the starting lineup or close out games. If you hear that versus, hey, get Keldon or Devin back out there. So they're asking for a rookie versus seasoned NBA pros and long tenured Spurs. They're picking the rookie to get out there instead of Devin and Keldon. That says a lot from the fan base. He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow on X at Sweep the League right now. When we get back, we're going to be asking if the Spurs, have they been overrated a bit? Have Spurs fans, some, not all, make it very clear, some Spurs fans have maybe just thought this team is a little bit better than maybe we should. I mean, they are 15-15 right now. We're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. But first, let's talk about Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up today at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Hey, I want to talk to you about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Go there right now, San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have it all. Great menu, cold drinks, hot drinks, coffee, the signature drink, Mudslinger, iced lattes. Pick something you're craving, they'll have it. Check out the menu. We're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member, serving San Antonio the best coffee in the city. Go there right now. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have the Lightning Bolt series, which includes the Alien, which is a drink made in honor of Victor Wembanyama. Got to try it. Speaking of which, hey, they have these drinks, like I was mentioned right now, the Lightning Bolt series. They're going to be containing Lotus Energy. That's 7 power plant extracts. That gives them flexibility to create new drinks. But if you want Red Bull, you just tell them and they'll put it in there. But the default will be Lotus Energy. Go there right now, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. They even got mini donuts. Best spot in the city to get yourself some coffee. Go there right now, San Antonio. Follow them on social media at Mudslinger SATX. Go there right now because life is too short for bland coffee.
All systems have been alerted to your presence. You must subscribe to Locked On Spurs immediately.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League and the Hellfire Club. By the way, great ending that last season when, what's his name, was on the trailer and rocking out to, what was it, Metallica?
That breathes Eddie, yeah. I'm gonna have to Metallica getting attacked. Well, I mean, can we spoil? I'm sure everybody's seen it right now, right? Getting attacked
It's been
by
a couple of years already.
demons. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. You know what? It kind of sucks, Jeff, because I'm gonna have to go back and watch probably all of
Me
season
too.
5 again just to get caught up again. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to go get a recap of it.
Yeah, exactly. But let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs and ask, have some Spurs fans overrated this team? Now, the team is sitting right now at 15-15. On pace right now for a 41-41 season, right down the middle, if they keep it up. But they're on a 2-game losing skid. They haven't been closing out games properly, as we saw versus the Knicks. You lose to Philadelphia, at that time 9-17 Philadelphia team. They've been losing games at home. Look, now I'm not going to bash on too much. Yes, they did have a 4-game winning streak. They are showing marked improvement. They're holding on to leads more, but they're still, at the end of the day, they're just a 500 team. Rudy, but you had an interesting twist on this before we hit record. So I'll throw it out to you, and I know what you're going to say, but buy or sell, the team is overrated or underrated?
I'm gonna. So I kind of said this was kind of like a trick question in a way, but a good question. So when we say overrated, I will say they're in a lot of fans' perspectives, they're overrated. But though, before everybody, starts coming at me on at Sweep the League and all that stuff, when I say overrated, let's change the last part. When they are overrated, but they are more overachieving than what we all expected. And I know you've got the fans out there that said, "Oh, from day one, they were going to be this team and they're going to be in the playoff." I get you guys. Everybody drinks grandma's syrup every now and then, so I totally get all that stuff. But you've got to understand that this team is overachieving. So if they're overachieving, are they overrated? Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, we were saying at the beginning, Jeff, beginning of the year, this team's going to win more games based off, hey, Wemby's going to be a little bit better than he was last year. Check that mark off. Chris Paul's going to help them at the end of games when they were losing games in the fourth quarter. He's going to help them out. Check that off. He's getting some of these wins for these guys, putting them in better situations to get the W. But again, it's the same team you've had for the past few years, a 22-win team, but previously they had, again, a losing record previously. So you're getting the same guys. You just threw in a couple of extra veterans in there to kind of help out. But, you've got to look at this as well. Yeah, they play Brooklyn, but then they go on a 4-game murderer row there with Minnesota Clippers and back-to-back against Denver. So
forget about it.
All these guys that are, complaining whether, are they good? Are they bad? They're the best, playing, yada, yada, yada. That 4-game stretch is going to say a lot. So if they can't get a win against Brooklyn, you might start getting to feel those blues from last year when you started to see that 7-game, 8-game losing streak, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, we got to be real on the show here on Locked On, but I want to say they're overrated to a point, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just substitute the word overrated for overachieving.
Yeah.
They've gotten the benefit of some great games by guys. Wemby's got them to victory. Chris Paul stepped up in certain areas. Harrison Barnes as well. So there's been games where they've been there, but I mean, as a team, as a collective team overall, the guys you would hope to be consistent are consistent. And to throw it out there, I screamed at you on your show, who should always be starting with Stephon Castle. You're kind of seeing a little bit of that going downhill. The reason why you pulled him out of starting lineup, it didn't make sense to me. But hey, I'm not a coach. I'm just a guy with a mic.
Yeah, exactly. When you're talking, I looked up to see if Vegas updated their win total projection, and there has been a change. So the Spurs their peak was 36.5, now gone down to 35. So according to Vegas, they're going to be a 35-win team, and we all know Vegas is right, as is Rudy Campos when it comes to day-to-see type of predictions.
Yeah.
Like last year, Vegas nailed it, 22 wins, and it was a 22-win season. Right now, they're predicting 35 wins. So the Spurs did lose a game in the win total projection. Nevertheless, it's tough. I agree with you. It's not. I wouldn't classify it as a trick question, more like just one that makes you think. Okay, so we go both sides. So Are they overrated? I think some Spurs fans overrate them.
Yeah.
Look how they close games. Look at Wemby. He's doing it all. A 4-game win streak. Look at that. I mean, we can't forget about that game where they came back and beat Portland when they were down. That tremendous comeback. So, yeah, I can see that. But then I can also see the other side of the coin where, no, they're overrated because you lose to New York. You get in deficits. Sure, you're coming back, but a good team would not see themselves fall into deficits for like 2, 3.5 periods and have to come back. You don't lose to Philadelphia the way you lost to Philadelphia. You don't make stupid mistakes the way you did versus the Knicks. Turnover here, turnover there. So it's just like their record. They're 500, and the arguments are about 500 because you can make an argument for both sides of the coin here if they're overrated or not. Also, too, Rudy, got to factor this. The bar is slow, man. I mean, 22 wins last year. Technically, it's a successful season so far. I mean, their standards, their 15th win wasn't until, in the second half of the season. So, yeah, it's a success. But it's like I asked the Spurs fans, and I'll ask you. Okay, so last year they lost 22 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if at the end of the day, season's over, the win total is 30? Is that success? What if it's 28, 29? Is that success?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the one that said they would win 30 games. So, yeah, that's a...
So would you classify that as success, though?
8.
Is that a successful season?
It's 8 more games than they won last year. Anything above 22, you have to classify it as a success. I mean, to me, that's 100%, success right there. Anything above 22, Jeff. There's no way you cannot say that's not a successful year.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I agree with you. But I would tweak it a little bit. I wouldn't say, it's a success. To me, that's not success.
30 wins is not success. That's an 8-game turnaround with the addition of Chris Paul.
It's like me setting the standards low still. That's still a low standard to meet.
It's a low standard, but I mean,
for me, 35 or
I think if you get to 35 wins, it wouldn't be success. It would be it's short of being monumental because that's 13-game turnaround, and that's in the NBA with a team that they currently have, 13 to 15-game turnaround. That's huge. That's short of being monumental for me.
Okay, all right. I'll put it this way.
Okay.
25 wins, 24 wins. Is that success?
It's a good season. A good season.
Man, Rudy, standards low, buddy.
Well, I mean, 22 wins, you can't get any lower than that. So
You can.
I mean,
Right now, Rudy's thoughts here right now. He's got 26 wins is technically successful. I don't know if a lot of Spurs fans will agree with that.
well, I mean, they don't have to, but I can argue back that they won 22 last year. They won 26 this year. That's a 4-game improvement. If you don't see success, I mean, put it this way. If your business made 100,000 last year,
Yeah.
but then you closed out at 110,000, are you going to say, well, I just have $10,000. I'm going to give that away because
I can see the argument that a company would say, no, that's not good. I
mean, yeah, it's not great, but you didn't come in the negative. You didn't owe money. You gained money. So I think you gain wins, but I get what you're saying. I mean, they technically have what, 52 games to get at least 7 more wins. I think if I'm rolling the dice, they can get to that pretty easily.
Yeah. Can you imagine they lose tomorrow night to the Nets? Oh my! This man.
I will
Say that. Shambles. Fans will be in shambles bad tomorrow. If that happens. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't want it to happen. But the way they're playing right now, I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think they would lose tomorrow to the Nets. I don't think they do, but then again, this has the making of being one of those, Cam Thomas and Cam Johnson games where they just kind of go crazy. So
Don't jinx it. Let's not both jinx it. We're both starting. Okay, they're gonna win. They're gonna win. Yay! Basketball, good vibes going out there. But it is an interesting question. Are they overrated? Yeah, you can make an argument that maybe they are. Are they underrated. They should be given better, more flowers and more love. Yeah, you could probably make an argument for that. Again, I just go back to the whole last year, 22 wins. That's a low bar, but we'll see how the Spurs continue their season as it pushes forward. All right, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. What do you think about Chris Paul's comments? You heard him a little while ago here on Locked On Spurs. Is he right? Enough of the too young excuse. Let's get rid of it. And also, what do you think about the Spurs? Are they overrated? They're underrated? Are they overachieving? Are they about right? You let us know on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page by going there right now, subscribing, and downloading the Locked On Spurs episodes on your favorite podcast platform, whether that be iTunes, Spotify, the CanSpy Plus app. There's another platform. Go there right now and check out the Locked On Spurs newsletter. That's in the description below on the YouTube side of things. Right below there, click on that. Fun times, free newsletter hitting your inbox, I should say, each and every day. Rudy, what's going on with Sweet, buddy?
Yeah, so Sweep, we've decided to take off Christmas, obviously. I think we're going to do a couple of shows coming up at the end of the week, and then, of course, we ramp up in the new year. A lot of great stuff coming. You want to go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, hit that subscribe button. 2025 is already setting up to be huge, so don't miss out on it. I can't really spill the beans just yet, but you may see a lot of us locally on certain, stations and stuff. So I'll just say that one. Yeah, we're getting big time now, thanks to Jeff and everybody else. So appreciate everybody that subscribes already. But again, hit that subscribe button on Sweep the League TV on YouTube.
Absolutely. Follow Rudy on X at Sweep the League as well. We'll be back tomorrow talking all things silver and black. And Spurs got the Nets, so we'll see how they do tomorrow night. And again, hope you all had a good Christmas holiday, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Got New Year's right around the corner, so the holiday spirit is not done. But so for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.